today, inshallah, we will talk about Hijrah. Because, next week, inshallah, it will be the beginning of the new year in Hijrah. So, in the memory of Hijrah, first, did anyone read before about Hijrah and Sirah? So, anyone get a story from Hijrah, for example, want to tell us, when you read something and you feel it's like affecting you good. So, is there some kind of stories like that?
Yeah, I know that the Prophet migrated from Makkah to Medina.
Okay. I think most of us know the story of immigration. But first of all, why did the Prophet immigrate from Mecca to Medina?
Because he was tortured in Mecca and he was given the order to migrate to Medina to make dawah in a better atmosphere.
But when the Prophet, Habab, one of the companions of Rasulullah, go to him and he say they trading us and they use us as slaves because we are Muslims. And even Habab was a blacksmith, and they used to put the hot iron in his skin, and his owner, she tied him with chain, and she put him up of the fire. And when he go to the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ and he told us, I can't get patient anymore. It's enough. I can't take anymore. The Prophet told him that the people before you, we brought them, and they was with some special. I don't know what is the name of it, but المشط الحديد.
مشط الحديد.
It's like a brush, but it's from metal. The brush for hair, but it's from metal. And they take off their flesh from their hands or from their bodies. But they take care and they got patient for that. But when the Prophet get the order from Allah to immigrate from Mecca to Medina, he takes this adventure and he immigrate from Mecca to Medina. But first of all, what is the story of it? From the beginning, the Prophet Muhammad was sent to Mecca, I think 10 years before Hijrah. 10 years before Hijrah, and he stayed in Mecca. And when he stayed 3 years, not making da'wah in public, but individual. But after he get the order from Allah, he started to make it in public. Then the kuffar began to punish them, to put up pressure in Muslims, and force them to convert to back to their own religions or traditional religions, and all of that things that make the Prophet order some of the Sahaba to make the first Hijrah, which it was for Ethiopia, which called in Arabic, at that time they called Habasha. The first Hijrah was with a lot of Sahaba, like Uthman ibn Affan, for example. He immigrated. Ja'far ibn Abi Talib, he immigrated. And you know the story of Najashi and others. After that, the second one was after I can't remember the time, but it was at the 10 year of Bi'tha, I think, or 13 of Bi'tha. And then the Rasulullah immigrated from Mecca to Medina. The story of immigration that after Umar ibn Khattab converted to Islam, he take a clone of Muslims, and Hamza take another one. So, and they say if anyone want to trade with Muslim, he should pass from us first. And as you know, Umar ibn Khattab was famous. He was strong, and he was one of the leaders in Quraysh. So, and Hamza was the same. He was a fighter. He was archer. No one can talk with him. So they took the Muslims, the weak Muslims, behind them to protect them, and then they immigrate to Medina. But the Prophet and Abu Bakr, they delayed themselves before became sure that all Muslims go. And when the order came, the Prophet Muhammad left his house, and he told Ali ibn Abi Talib to lay in his bed instead of him. And because kuffar surrounded his house, and one of the stories that it affected me in this, they was kuffar and they wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad. But why they didn't break into his house? Does anyone know why? They didn't break into his house. They know that Prophet Muhammad inside the house, but they didn't enter. Why? They're waiting until he became out, so they can catch him. Why they didn't enter the house?
Because according to the Arab tradition, if I can remember, there is you can't break into someone's.
Because they say there is, this house. Maybe there is a girl inside the house.
Okay.
Maybe there is a woman inside the house. So they didn't want to. It's a shame for Arab tradition to enter the house. There is a woman inside without permission. So even they was kuffar, they wanted to kill Prophet Muhammad. There was a manor. It's just by tradition, It's not by religion, but just by tradition. So they waited outside of the house until Prophet Muhammad go out. They wanted to kill him. When Prophet Muhammad moved out of the house, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala blinded their eyes, and even Prophet Muhammad read ayah of Surah Yasin, وَجَعَلْنَا مِنْ بَيْنِ أَيْدِيهِمْ سَدًّا وَمِنْ خَلْفِهِمْ سَدًّا فَأَغْشَيْنَاهُمْ فَهُمْ لَا يُبْصِرُونَ, and even he got some of the
Sand.
and he put it in their hats, and he and Abu Bakr, and he left Ali ibn Abi Talib in his house, because as you know, the Prophet used to call Sadiq al-Amin, because even he was a prophet, and most of the kuffar want to kill him, but the only one that they trust him to lift their goods with him was Prophet Muhammad. So Prophet Muhammad, he didn't say they are kuffar and I need money because I'm going to immigrate to another place, so I should take their goods and their things that they left with me. He didn't say that. He said, Ali ibn Abi Talib, stay at my house and give it to them, their goods and all their amanats that they left with me. He didn't say, okay, they tried to kill me so many times, so I should take it from them. After that, they came when it was very, very late. They entered the room of Prophet Muhammad, and they was going to hit with the swords, but when they discovered the cover, they discovered that Ali ibn Abi Talib was lying in his bed. Once another lessons from here, that Ali ibn Abi Talib, he might be killed at that time, because they got swords and they was going to hit him with the swords without any asking. So why did he accept something like that? Maybe one of the other Muslims may say, why should I kill for you? You can ask another one. He can escape from this, his task. He can say, I won't risk my life for someone else. Some of people nowadays thinking like that. But because they know that Rasulullah is sent by Allah and he is the true messenger, and it's like the story of Sayyidah Hajar and Prophet Ibrahim, when he took her and his child, his baby Ismail at that time, and he lived here at Mecca, which was like desert at that time. And she told him, "Amanzilun anzalaka Allah, is it something that Allah ordered you to do it?" And he said yes. Then she said, "Isn't falan yudayana? He won't let us down." Because she trusted in the word of Allah. The same point of Ali ibn Abi Talib, he know that Prophet Muhammad won't let him down. And it's like they call a tribute for Islam, like sacrifice for Islam. In that time, it doesn't matter if you are, you will sacrifice yourself to protect the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So after that, Prophet Muhammad moved to another thing here. Before Prophet Muhammad arranged to make immigration, he asked Abu Bakr to make some arrangement before that, like get a guider, because you will pass from a way maybe you didn't pass from it before. The way it was at that time. The way from Mecca to Medina was very, very rough. It was sand, it was desert, anyone can lose. So, first of all, he get a guider. Second, he brought a special camel for this trip. And even after that, he brought shepherd with sheep to clear their footprints from the sands. So Kuffar couldn't get them. And they go to they complete their journey. But the lessons from here is before you're doing something, you should arrange well. Because this hijrah was the first true beginning of the Islamic State at that time. Because as you know, Yathrib, it's called Yathrib from different tribes, different people, different colons. So it's from division, But when he called it Medina, which is it means the city, or it's like began the first state of Islam. So even like Hijrah, it should be prepared well before you start it, because any mistake can cause a damage for all this religion. If Kuffar quotes Prophet Muhammad ﷺ in this Hijrah, it might be the end of this religion. So the lesson here that he prepared himself well, and even Abu Bakr prepared himself well with Prophet Muhammad. And then they traveled and they go to the first of all, there was a prize for the one who gave Prophet Muhammad and his colleagues, his companions. So one of the there is a treasure hunter, like what they say, was Suraqat ibn Malik. He was going to follow Prophet Muhammad and looking, because they say there is a prize like 100 camel for the one who get Prophet Muhammad. And at the time, getting a camel at the time like getting BMW at the time. So it was very, very good price. I mean, if you get him, you will get 100 BMW, something like that. So Suraqa gave follow Prophet Muhammad, and he looking for his prints and sands in desert. And after that, Suraqa first before Suraqa get Prophet Muhammad, there was Ghar Hira, which is like a cave, and the Prophet and Abu Bakr entered this cave. The Prophet slept in that cave, and Abu Bakr was afraid, so he didn't sleep, because maybe someone will enter this cave anytime for any reason, and maybe they will get us. So he was afraid, so he didn't sleep, and he stayed all night looking for anyone, looking for them. At that time, there was a hole in the wall of the cave, and there was a snake in that hole, getting out of that hole. And Abu Bakr didn't want to wake up the Prophet from his movement. So he snatched his cloth, and he made a piece of cloth, and he put it to block the hole. And even he stayed all the day holding it with his hand, and even the snake bit him. But he didn't move, or he didn't cry, he didn't make any voice. because he didn't want to upset Prophet Muhammad ﷺ during his sleep. When Prophet Muhammad wake up, he saw the hand of Abu Bakr and it was a poison. So the Prophet Muhammad, I asked him, why didn't you wake up me? Why he didn't tell me? So he say, يعني يا رسول الله, I didn't want to wake up you. So Prophet Muhammad gets the poison from his hand and he treated him. And after that, there was some of kuffars. They became out of the cave. One of them go to the toilet, like what they say, and it was in front of the cave. So Abu Bakr said, if he look down, he will see us. He will saw us. If you look down, just look under his leg. So Prophet Muhammad told him, ما ظنك باثنين الله ثالثهما. What do you think about two people and Allah is the third one with them? So at that time, Abu Bakr felt satisfied that Allah won't let us down. After that, they get out of the cave, and the kuffar didn't get them, and they ran. Then Suraqa ibn Malik, he catched Prophet Muhammad and Abu Bakr. He saw them, and he tried to get them, but his horse, his leg is stuck in the sand, and then he flipped from his horse. He fall from his horse. So he stand again and he ride his horse and he say, Muhammad, stop here. Then Prophet Muhammad looked to him and then he fall again from his horse. He tried several times to catch him because the price is 100 camel. At that time it's like $1 million at that time. But after that, he told Prophet Muhammad, I will let you. Okay, I will let you. But I will waste 100 camel. So what is the price if I convert to Islam? What is the price that I will get? So Prophet Muhammad told them, you will get Suwara Kisra, which is, it was something, Kisra was the king of Persia at that time, Persia. And he got something from gold, wear it in his hand, something like that. When he sitting in the throne, and he put in his hand something, lifting his hand like that. When he saw it sitting in the throne, and it was from gold. So Prophet Muhammad told them, you will get it as a prize. Anyone at that time, he would say, you are crazy. First of all, Arab was very backward at that time. It's just different tribes, a lot of wars between them. So how can they defeat empire like Persia at the time? If anyone who doesn't believe in Prophet Muhammad, he will say he's crazy. He's promised me with something that I will never get. But then Suraqa say, okay, I will let you go, and even I will waste kuffar after you. Even when he back, they ask him, did you see Muhammad? He say, okay, he goes that way, and then they go in the wrong way. After, at the age of Khilafah of Umar ibn Khattab, and the Muslim conquer Persia, and they get the throne and the gold ware of Kisra. And then when they was showing the treasures for the Muslims in Medina, and Suraqa was living at the time, so he told Umar ibn Khattab, yeah, Umar, it's for me. So Prophet Umar looked at him, what are you saying? We brought it just from Persia, it's for you who have. So he told him, I get the promise from Prophet Muhammad. And he showed him a paper that Prophet Muhammad wrote for him. At that time, Umar ibn Khattab cried because, it's almost 20 years ago, more than 20 years ago. And Prophet Muhammad told Siraqa that you will get it. After that, there was some events in this journey. By the way, you know the guider of Prophet Muhammad, he was one of the kuffar. That he guided Prophet Muhammad through the desert. But he didn't tell kuffar about them. Because when Abu Bakr prepared well for this trip, you know, if you're going to make a trip, you should choose your companion for the way. So one of the companion that even if he was kafir, you should be sure that this one won't
Betray you.
betray you. And as I told you before, they make agreement with the shepherd to clear their prince from the town. So they didn't even give them the kuffar. And Prophet Muhammad arrived to Medina, and the people of Medina, they received him, and even they make some poems about the Prophet Muhammad, like, you know, طلع بدر علينا من ثنيات الوداع. And after the first thing that Prophet Muhammad ﷺ do when he entered the Medina is building the masjid. When he said that when he led his camel and it laid in a place in Medina, and then the companions, the Sahaba, came to take it to another place, you know, the place for animals. But the Prophet Muhammad ﷺ tell them, دعوها فإنها مأمورة. Let it, because it's order from Allah to it, to the camel. So the first thing that Prophet Muhammad did after he immigrated from Mecca to Medina was build a masjid. Because this masjid will be the center of the Islamic da'wah for the new state and for all Muslims. That was the meaning, that was a story in brief, in very, very summarized, the story of immigration from Mecca to Medina. This story is very, very, very long, and there is a lot of details, and you can read it in a lot of book of Sirah in details. Like there is a Sirah for Ibn Hisham. There is one, there is good, it's a good book, you can read it. And but the companion who is still at Mecca, they continue immigrating from Mecca to Medina, until the Fath of Mecca. When Prophet Muhammad ﷺ conquered Mecca, I think it was at the 8 years of Hijrah, and he said, hadith, he said, لا هجرة بعد الفتح. There is no immigration after Fath, ولكن جهاد ونية. What is the meaning of that? The meaning of that there is no hijrah after Fath, because, you know, hijrah is leaving, you know, you will leaving your family, you will leaving your father, you will leaving your mother, you will leaving your money, you will leaving everything in your life from at Mecca, and you will leave to another place for Islam, just for Islam, for nothing else. Another lesson from Hijrah, I forget to say, that when Prophet Muhammad, you know, Sahaba, they left everything for them at Mecca. They didn't bring them with them. So the Prophet Muhammad make a brotherhood between Muhajirin and Ansar, because the Ansar that they help Prophet Muhammad, they support Prophet Muhammad, the people of Medina, and Muhajirun, the people that they immigrate from Mecca to Medina with Prophet Muhammad. Even one of the stories that it was for Abdurrahman ibn Auf, I could remember the name of the other Sahabi. And when the Prophet Muhammad make a brotherhood between him and this Sahabi, he told him that I got 2 homes, choose one and it's for you, and I will give you the home. Maybe I didn't check the name. And they say to him, I will give you the half of my money, and I got two wives, choose one at will, and I will divorce her for you. I will divorce her for you to marry her. But only Abdurrahman ibn Auf told him, دلني على السوق, guide me to the market and give me 50 dinar, and I will do it by myself. Before that, he told him, بارك الله لك في دارك وبارك الله لك في مالك, but just me, guide me to the market. But this story is, for example, of brotherhood between Muslim and other Muslims. He even didn't know him before, but just Prophet Muhammad say, okay, you are the brother of Abdurrahman ibn Auf. Just say that. And then and then he said, okay, you get half of my money, you got my house, you got my all that. So it's like the lesson here is brotherhood between Muslims together. Some of the Muslims doesn't know you until he wants something from you, and after he take his advantage from you, he didn't call you again. It doesn't mean, the meaning of brotherhood in Islam is not like that. Okay, you have to help your brother. You have to help your brother, and you have to support him, because a Muslim كان بنيان. A Muslim is like one build. So you can't make different. You make different between Muslims and together. But you shouldn't take advantage from your brother as well. You didn't say he's my brother in Islam. Okay, I will use him. That's not the meaning of brotherhood that we should take from Sirah. Abdurrahman ibn Auf at that time, he might, if he was a wrong person or the other person, he would say, okay, give me half of your money and give me half of your house and give me one of your wives. He might use that. He said to me, he offered that for me. Why shouldn't I accept? But only he said to him, Allah bless you and bless your wife and bless your house. Just only guide me to the market. He didn't exalt him. He didn't use him. After Fatih Mecca, the Prophet say there is no immigration after Fatih, ولكن جهاد ونية. But there is jihad and there is intention. And the intention and jihad, there is a lot of meaning of that. Jihad, some people say jihad is only jihad by swords and horses and camels and something like that. It's not only by that meaning. There is another meaning for jihad, which is jihad of the nafs. What they call it, some of ulama say it's the greatest jihad. Because you are against yourself. It is the greatest than the normal one. Because jihad with weapons is easy. Anyone can do it. Any one of the Muslims can do it. Any one of the Muslims can carry a gun. Any one of the Muslims can carry a sword. Any one of the Muslims can make jihad against kuffar. Anyone can do that. But not any one of the Muslims can't make jihad against himself. He can't resist himself. إن النفس لأمارة بالسوء إلا ما رحم ربي. Your nafs will order you to make sense, and you must resist it. That's why this not normal person can do it. It's a special one. A special Muslim who can do it. Not anyone. Not anyone can do that. That's why it's the greatest jihad. It's even greater than taking a weapon and making jihad against kuffar. That's one part of the jihad. The other part is niyyah. Which is intention. Before you're doing anything in your life, you should make an intention. You should get your niyyah. For example, before you go to the university, you should get that niyyah. What is your niyyah from going to the university? What is your niyyah from get this education? why I'm doing all that? Why you get this intention? Why you get this education? Why you go to the university? After the university, you get a work, you get a job there, you get married. Why you do all that? What is your niyyah, your intention from all that? What will you get? What will you produce for Islam and for the da'wah? All that is niyyah. It's all that about niyyah. So the lesson here is there is no immigration, no hijrah after Fath. After the Prophet immigrated from Mecca to Medina, there is no hijrah. It's end. But there is jihad and there is niyyah. And as I told you, jihad is not the only one that we know is weapons. No, there is another one which is jihad by you against yourself. So, if you didn't want, if you weren't one of the companions of Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, if you didn't immigrate with Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam from Mecca to Medina, you can get the sawab, you can get the awards of them, like them, by two things, jihad and niyyah. And it's in your hand, it's not in other one hand. It's not like hijrah. Hijrah by the physical meaning is end. You know, immigrate from the country of ma'asi and kuffar to the country of Muslims, it's end. There is nothing like that now. Or not with the same thawab, not with the same awards. Because some people say if you are staying in the country of kuffar and there is true Islamic country, you have to immigrate from this to live with Muslims. Okay, that's another issue. But what we are talking about, that immigration from the Dar al-Kuffar to the place of Muslims, Dar al-Islam, it's different issue.
Also,
No, there is half an hour. So if you didn't go the physical meaning, you can get the spiritual meaning. The spiritual meaning, which is jihadun and niyyah. And in your hand, it's in your hand. You can now immigrate your heart from the place of sins to the place of salah, of iman, of faith. You can do that by yourself. No one can help you with that. That's why the Prophet Muhammad say, "Walakin jihadun wa niyyah." Because if you didn't follow Prophet Muhammad at that time, if you didn't immigrate with Prophet Muhammad, you can get the same thawab of the first Sahaba. By only two things, it's simple. Jihadun and niyyah. It's not the symbol that we think. It's a symbol, yes, by the meaning, because you don't have to carry the weapon, or you don't have to immigrate with camel from Mecca to Medina, or from, for example, from Lefkosha to Gerna, or something like that. Not that meaning, but it's by yourself. Immigrate your heart from the place of sins, of ma'asi, to the place of salah and iman and faith. So it's also in your hand. And also you can get intention, niyyah, in everything you do. Everything you do is, you can do it for Islam. You know, you can, for example, you can go to play football, for example, but you can get your intention from there. Okay, it's for your intent by yourself. You know, one of the Sahaba go to Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he say the meaning of that. When we became with you, we feel like, you know, like we feel so good when we are all with you. But when we back our home and we see our children, our wives, and our family converted to another things. So Prophet Muhammad tell them, if you stay at the same thing, like you stayed with me, لصافحتكم الملائكة. That يعني the malaika will checking you in your beds. But ساعة وساعة. It mean okay, I will pray for an hour and I will play for an hour. No, it's not that meaning. But even that hour, that it's not, you know, by religion meaning. It's not for prayer. It's not for making dua. It's not for nawafil. Even that hour, that is for yourself. You can get intention from there. Even, you know, it's itself, if you take that intention, that this interment, this fun that I will get from this event or from this place, if I do it to entertain myself, so I can do something serious for Islam after that, it's intention, it's right intention. If you get intention from sports, for example, like Prophet, Umar ibn Khattab said, علموا أولادكم السباحة والرماية وركوب الخيل ورووهم فليركبوا على الخيل وثبا. It means that Umar ibn Khattab said, teach your children to archery and swimming and riding horse and ورووهم ما يجمل الشعر, and tell them and teach them poetry. So they can get, Arab was at that time was famous with their tongues, their words, their poems. So it was a weapons for Muslim because ادعوا إلى سبيل الله, Prophet Tijani said before, ادعوا إلى سبيل ربك بالحكمة وموعظة حسنة. How can you do that? If you got, some people got, rough tongue when he say you, if you didn't do that, you will go to Jahannam. How can you say it, with, you can say that it's the same meaning. For example, sometimes you do that, to advise someone, sometimes you do it with hard way, and there is another good way, easiest way. But to do that, you should get, the skills of communication with people, of talking with people. How can you get these skills? It's from learning poems and literature in general. And at that time, swimming and archery and riding horse was preparing for jihad. So all Muslims at that time, they had to prepare themselves for that if they want to make jihad. But if we take the intention to follow Sahaba and prepare ourselves like them by teaching, by learning swimming, learning archery, it's not the same, not the same meaning of it. Yeah. Swimming is, maybe it's different nowadays, and archery is different with shotgun, something like that. But it's the same idea, that sports in general, sports that will, for yourself, for your health and for your body, you can make that intention, I do it for Islam. So that is the 2 points of Hijrah and Niyah. Anyone want to ask anything?
No,